Okay, in this lecture, we're going to be learning about the for each loop, or sometimes called enhanced loop. Enhanced loop is just a simple way to iterate through all the elements of an array without using the index. So it's a very efficient way of cycling through the array. Um, so let's use the same example in the previous lecture to practice using enhanced loop. Okay, we created 5 objects from the student class, as you can see, Maria, Bob, Tim, Mike, and Joe, and then we created an array of type students. Okay, that stores all these objects. Now let's answer this question, but this time using the enhanced loop. So we're going to calculate the average grade of this classroom. So we need a variable for the sum. And then we're going to use the for each loop. So we'll put for, and then there are 3 things that we have 3 components. The type of the array, like right here, you see the type is students. You may have integer, you may have double, you may have circle, you may have rectangle, whatever the type might be. So we put here students because this is an array of type students. And then we come up with a variable. We just name any variable, doesn't matter. And then we put colon. Colon means starting from the beginning till the end. And then finally, we're going to put the name of the array, which is in this case, classroom. Now, st refers to every object in the array, like Maria, Bob. So st basically replaces Maria, Bob, Tim, Mike, and Joe. So we're going to check here, or you're going to calculate the sum. So sum plus equal st, which is the object, and then we can access the grade, get a grade. Very simple. We don't even mention the index. And then we display the average. The average grade is, and then you put sum divided by classroom dot length. Sum to double. Okay, so let's run the program and see if that works. Since the same answer, 81.4. Okay, so let's keep practicing. Now let's answer the second question. Count the number of passing students. One more time using the enhanced loop or for each loop. So we need a variable count. And then we do the same thing. For the type is student. Okay, st. You don't have to call it st. You can call it any variable name. And then classroom. And the if condition here. So if the student grade is higher or equal than 70, then he's passing. So we're going to put fst get grade is higher or equal than 70. Then you increment the variable by 1. And then you display the answers. The number of passing students is count. Okay, let's run the program. So we have 4 students that are passing. Okay, now, can we use this enhanced loop all the time? Or there are some situations, there are some exceptions? Well, there are 3 situations when you cannot use this enhanced loop. So the first situation is when you try to compare 2 consecutive elements, like the first and the second, the third. You have to refer to the index I plus 1, or I minus 1. So we cannot use the enhanced loop because there is no mention of the index when comparing 2 consecutive elements. Okay. The second situation, if you are trying to go backwards, sometimes you feel like you want to go backward from the end to the beginning, you can't use the enhanced loop for in that situation. And the third situation is when you excuse me, when you try to change the values of the elements, you cannot use the enhanced loop. You have to use the traditional loop. So this situation removes students with absences higher than 3. So you are changing the value to null. So you cannot use, in this situation, you cannot use it. Let's try and see if it's gonna work. For student ST classroom. So I'm trying to see if st.get absences is higher than 3, so the object should be assigned no. So let's see if that works. So let's print the array and see if the change took place. So arrays toString classroom. So let's run the program and see if the two students, the last two students that they are supposed to be removed, Mike and Joe, because they exceed 3 absences, they're still there, even though we assign new to it. So that shows it's not going to work. So here you have, in this case, we have no choice but to use the traditional loop, which is I equals 0, I less than classroom dot length I plus plus, and then classroom I. So now let's see and run the program. Let's see. So we have to assign classroom I to null. So if we run the program now it works. Look, the last two elements, they change to null because the absences exceed 3. So as you can see, like when you have to change the values, you have to use the traditional loop. Now let's continue with 2 more. Bump students grade up from 69 to 70. So let's say the teacher is nice enough to bump some students up on bump students grade from 69 to 70 so they can pass because they are on the border. So we can use the enhanced loop here because we're changing the value of the grade, okay, not the elements of the array. So we're going to put students st classroom. Now, which method allows me to change the grade? If you go back to the student class, so I'm going to put here f st.get grade, because the grade has to be 69 first. You're not going to change it for everybody. So let's go back to the student class. So which method allows me to change? Remember, modifier change. That's why we call them modifier. Sometimes they call them mutator. So as you can see right here, set grade. So I need to use the set grade. So I'm going to put here st set a grade to what? To 70. Okay. Now let me print the array one more time, see if the change took place. I have to change the grade to 69, at least to one of them. So let's say this is the last one. Joe has 69. So if you run the program, so you're going to say that, okay, so let's see, null pointer exception. Oh yeah, because it's null now, I forgot. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to comment this because I changed them to null. And when the object is null, you cannot call a method. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to comment these statements. Okay, so it will be skipped. Okay, as you can see right here, now it changed from 69 to 70. Joe is 79. And then the last one, search for a grade of a given student. Let's say I'm looking for, or a student came to me and said, okay, what's my grade? So I'm going to have to search for his grade or her grade. So let's use the enhanced loop. So I'm going to put for as student st classroom. So what's the name of the students here? I have to ask about the name of the students. So let's say the name of the students is, or I'm just going to put in the if statement. So let's say I'm looking for what's the grade of a given student. Let's say Tim. So I'm going to put here f st.getName. Now don't put double equal sign, because when you are comparing two string, you have to use the method equals. That's a common mistake. A lot of students, or many students, make that mistake. So we're going to put here Tim. So if we found the name of the students that matches Tim, now we want to display a grade. So I'm going to put here st dot get grade. Okay, so let's build it and run it and see if we can display Tim's grade. And sure enough, we got 100. Okay, we can even explain here. Tim's grade is, so it makes more sense. So Tim's grade is 100. So this is basically how to use the enhanced loop or the for each loop. So you can see it makes things very easy and efficient. But try to remember that there are three situations when you cannot use them. The first one, if you try to compare two consecutive elements, if you are trying to go backward from length -1 to 0, this means the opposite direction. And the third one, if you want to change the values of certain elements. Okay, so thank you for watching and see you in the next lecture.